What you're going to do to start is after you've gotten into where the photos are, you're going to find your photo. We're going to download our photo. Push more and save image. When you've found your photo, create it the size that will fit under the jelly plate. You can see that even though the jelly plate's a little cloudy, you can still see through it. What I want you to do is look for the hard lines and the hard shadows. When you are drawing, I want you to focus first on the positive space. Now, some tricks for your face. When you are doing your eyebrows, it's good to do little tiny lines instead of thick lines. When you're doing the eyes, make sure you're looking at the actual shapes you see. And when you're doing the nose, also look for those lower nose shapes. I find that when I'm doing the lips, tracing the upper lip, if your mouth is open, you can do the bottom line, but if it's not, just do that little line unless you're wearing bright lipstick or anything like that. I highly, highly suggest not making every individual tooth. If you have a larger gap, you might make a larger gap, but please don't do every little tooth. If you really hate something, or you went too far with your marker, you can get the littlest dab of hand sanitizer on a Q-tip and gently rub it. Now some of the ink might move, so you have a chance making a gray area, and then use the dry side to dry it up. If you want your portrait more realistic, stop here. If you would like it a little bit more abstract, maybe in the style of Brito, what he will usually do is he will trace the eyebrow line, and then the side of the nose that has more of a shadow, he'll go along that little Cupid's bow under. When he does lips, he does close that bottom lip to create those solid shapes. He'll also go and outline those eyebrows. I have found that coloring with alcohol markers, Sharpie markers, and Sharpie creative markers all work really well. If you use any paint pen, make sure that you have a lot of ink flowing, because you want to be careful not to scratch the surface of the gel plate with like a dry one. So make sure you keep that ink flowing. You can use water-based markers like Mr. Sketch and even Crayola. I don't recommend Crayola for this project though. At this stage, careful as you're erasing, because you can also erase the layers, so I might not try to erase that part. Before you use the alcohol markers, make sure all the hand sanitizer is dry. Make sure that the acrylic paint is dry first. For this next part, you're going to have your messy mat nearby with your brayer. You're going to get just a little bit of paint. I'm using silver. You don't have to use silver, but this is the paint we have. You don't want to scratch. You're going to pick up that brayer. You're going to push forward, lift, turn, forward, lift, turn. You want to go pretty quickly. As you can see, this is why I don't like to use the Crayola markers for this activity. The lines on here are going to help you center your paper. If it's not perfect, we can always trim it later. We're going to give a nice little pat down, and we're going to just let that sit for a little bit. We're going to come back to that art piece. While we're waiting, we're going to clean our tools. Let everyone at the table use it, and then once that has happened, some hand sanitizer on a napkin. Just wipe it off. I'm gonna peek if things are coming up. If not, just lay it back, give it another good back rub. But if it's coming off, I saw a spot there that needed a little bit more time. That white paint in that one spot probably wasn't dry enough. If you need more hand sanitizer, go for it. Just stick back on the little cut papers. This is pastel ground. You are going to add just a little bit of water. You don't need a ton of pastel ground. And if it separates, just mix it up. Whether you chose to do the more realistic version or abstract version, what you're going to do is you're going to use this pastel ground. If it's separated a little bit, since I've mixed water with the pastel ground, you can mix it up. And then you're just going to do a light coat over the acrylic paint. If you chose realistic, you will have 2 photos in the drive. One will be your actual photo, and then one will be the one that you trace. For this one, if you're wanting to work in gray scale, when you push edit, on here at the bottom, if you push the 3 circles, you can come over to a gray scale. When the pastel ground is dry, you can go in and now add some highlights. You can use those white colored pencils. You can use a white gel pen. If you want to add highlights, if you're wanting to focus on pencils, you can shade with pencils. They can be color or they can be your sketching pencils. Here's where you can shade those things like laugh lines where they won't look like wrinkles. The smudgers will work. The camera's not really catching the white, but now you can kind of see where I added that white. And then let's have fun with some of those other unique supplies. Here we already have some colors in the background and in that negative space. You can use a quick stick, which is a tempera stick. Try not to roll it up too high. Or you can go back to add some layers to what you've already done. You're gonna wanna let this dry when you can touch it and it goes back down. without leaving some on your hands. Then it's dry and you can go on to the next layer. I consider our Pentel and our Crayolas pastels more like a harder pastel, closer to a crayon.
Use a Q-tip.
You can use a paper towel to blend. These Gallery oil pastels are considered extra soft. These are incredible for blending. You can go in and make some scratch art designs and shapes using a toothpick. But something that's neat about pastel ground is watercolor will work on top of these acrylic paintings. You can use pastels on your more realistic portrait, or you could just choose to do pencils. You have a lot of choices.